Hey guys, Akariss here. Welcome to a brand new unit analysis video. As always, you guys demand and I deliver. So, as you no doubt can tell by the title of this video, this one will cover green axe flyers. Believe it or not, there's actually quite a few of these in the 3 and 4 star pool, at least, either through Grails or the Gacha. And they also do provide a decent variety in your choices, so it's pretty good. However, as I mentioned in previous analysis videos, I'm not going to cover all of them. Going forward, just keep in mind, I'm just going to pick the best of the best and what I feel is the best role they can do. For example, the tanking role, or a Gale Force roll, or a Vantage roll, or such and such. I'll show if a unit is applicable or best in role for an AR defense comp and AR offense comp. Remember, all of this is tailored towards Ether Raids, because that is where the investments count. You got one shot to make it work, so make sure your investments go towards that. Everything I say is with personal experience or backed up by discussion from top players that are all throughout my community. If you want to be a part of that community, check out the Discord link below. You can follow me on Twitter for thoughts on the new units on the Gacha. I don't cover those, as you know, anymore, but I want to make sure we all are kept up to date on some of the old guys, these older units, which actually do an amazing job. And believe it or not, you know, some of these are really good, so let's go through it and review them. Now, thanks to a couple people have mentioned how exactly like stat bonuses are calculated from the unit builder. That information is literally right under me now, so just read that blurb if you want to kind of understand what's going on. Just assume standard mythic AR offense comps, right? 2 mythics, a bonus unit, a carry unit, and a support. You got 5 units to bring, that's what it is. And on defense, you can assume 2 mythics. For example, 2 Yuns will be covered as a buff to the Dark Blessed units today, because it's a flyer. Or on offense, 2 heirs. I'm not going to go through Astra Season. Generally, when I show a unit either Light Blessed or Astra Blessed, it's not that one unit is better than another in Astra or Light. I just want to kind of say that every unit is better in Light than it is in Astra. Astra is more difficult to play because res bonuses are better than defense bonuses, and you need like high base res units to play in Astra Season properly, and there's not that many, believe it or not. Like, take a look at this chart, for example, right here. Camilla is the only high base res unit here, and by that logic, she would technically be the best Astra tank. But green isn't really the preferable color anyways, so it's not really that great, and I wouldn't really recommend it. It's also why I'm not going to cover Camilla as a tank in this video. I do think she can do it, but that's not the point. Let's go into what I got here. As you can see, there's quite a few here, but I'm not covering them all. So, first up, to no one's surprise, is Camilla. However, Camilla is not what you may expect, or maybe you do, I don't know. She's one of the best support units on AR offense for a flyer team. Now, I've done this in plenty of my matches. I don't know if I've recorded any, but you can always skim through my Ether Raids videos to find it, or always attend the stream where I do this. Whenever my air is a bonus unit and she's plus 10, I always bring Camilla ally supported with her. That's because Camilla provides, she's pretty much like a flying Corrin, and that's really useful to buff up your team. Plus, it gives you the mobility that you'd always expect or want from flyers, and that's covered through flyer formation in B-slot. One other thing I want to mention about Camilla is that she's quite flexible with most of her skills, I would say. Like, you can run Fort Defense Res here if you have it in the A slot. B slot could be a chill, could even be a link skill. I use flyer formation because it's nice to have that mobility. It's kind of like 3 movement flyers when it lines up nicely. And the seal, again, can be a chill, can be another drive, maybe even some sort of buff, tactic skills if you happen to use mixed team comps. However, that won't really work out when you have 2 heirs and Camilla supporting. So the thing is, Cam provides a lot of stats, and she doesn't just provide it to one unit like Corrin, she provides the whole team, including the other heirs. So she's a very good unit for this aspect. You can run even life and death, and she can likely soak, chill attack, or chill speed based on your IV choice. Definitely chill res, as she has a really high base res. So yeah, definitely do that. Now, this duel is also really cool to keep in mind. Due to Sigrun's release recently, Defense Res Link plus Hone Flyers can be given to one of your heirs, which is what I've done recently, and you have a single unit buffing 6 to all stats for a flyer unit. This is amazing because the rest of your flyer units can run ward flyers. You can have one of your heirs buffing 6 to all stats like that, and this is how I use my heir going forward. One of them. There's two, right? So one of them is more like a carry, or like a chill soaker, chill attack and speed, and Cam here is pretty much providing the in-combat stats, while Air provides the visible stats plus chill support from the back after she would provide some smite play. So yeah, I mean, this is the sort of combo that I play with when considering flyers. When you consider a traditional team comp, it's like with Air as the bonus unit, Air plus 10 tanking with Barb, IO shield, close counter, mystic boost, etc. Cam ally supported, providing tons of stats with ward flyers, Cam's axe. And then I'd have probably like NY Azura with Unhai Goida as ward flyers, or I might have a Versa also providing ward flyers and panic support. And my air definitely reaches about 50 or so defense, 70 res, some ridiculous amount of stats like that, where like literally nothing can break through it. I have covered that in the Omega Tanking Colorless video, and probably should go give it a look if you're curious to see what I'm talking about. But Cam is supportive in that nature. So that's not all that Cam's good for. Cam has been fairly consistent on AR defense, and I think this will stay true, especially in flyer balls as a frontline tank, because she just has a good stat spread for it. Simple as that. Good speed, decent attack, good defense and res. With IL shield on the front line, she's difficult to kill. Cam's axe brings her up to 52 speed, so not a lot of stuff is going to double her, not even Air herself during bonus season. That defense and res is very respectable, hard to nuke even for someone like Ophelia, which you don't really see on offense. But yeah, a lot of units are going to have trouble to break through this because ward flyers are around a flyer ball, and Cam is going to have some trouble getting sniped. I can really appreciate that about Cam. She's definitely one of the best in that slot. And of course, if you're considering what you want to do with Yoon, because you'll have 2 Yoons, and that'll pretty much bring you up to 3 greens on a flyer ball, it's not as bad as you might think. But if you have the fodder to spare, or thinking about a long-term game plan on how to use your Yoons in a flyer ball, don't use her base kit. This is the first thing I'll tell you. Don't use her base kit. Or at least one of the Yoons can maybe keep the base kit with Chaos Manifest, maybe, because the auto double is pretty useful. But one of the Yoons, specifically the one in the back of a flyer ball, please review my flyer ball video for this one. You want to maybe provide with some support like Spectral Tome, Sturdy Impact, Sturdy Blow. This makes Yoon very durable, hard to kill when initiating, and Sturdy Impact will keep her alive. This is how you want to provide that panic support in the back. Remember, Cam's axe will help her out. Don't worry so much about the attack stat. This is why it's a supportive build. Spectral Tome is just there so that she can panic a unit and the rest of your units can clean up from there, especially if someone like S, who will demolish many units in play. So yeah, second unit, of course, if you have one, which you should, Chaos Manifest, but definitely switch out the I forgot what the C skill is called, but switch it out for ward flyers, because the most important thing with a flyer ball is stats, and you can't afford to substitute that C skill for anything. It doesn't matter how powerful it happens to be. Okay, moving on, we have Cherche. Now, I did brainstorm a little bit on this one, but there is a potential use for Cherche on air offense that I can visualize, and it's this variant. So not only does she provide panic ploy support, which is very useful in its own, considering if you run a Gale Force comp, but paired up with specifically Viloria, if you happen to have one, enables Cherche to have a 2-charge Gale Force, and since she doubles because she has a Brave weapon and has one of the highest base attacks in the game, she doesn't really have so much problems proccing that Heavy Blade, and because of her high attack, even if she one-shots, she's likely to get that proc on Gale Force. So this is a very consistent variant. Anyone really paired up with Viloria ends up with consistent Gale Force strats, but I do want to you know, give some credibility for Cherche here, because she will, even if she kills in one hit, Gale Force. She kills in two, still Gale Force. Any follow-ups beyond that, still doubles, super high attack stat, super consistent this way. You're not just like trying to get one hit or two hits. You don't have to worry about the speed stat. You just go in, blow stuff up, and Cherche does it well. Now, Viloria herself is no slouch in Gale Force, thankfully, due to her high base speed. So all you really got to do is give her Flashing Blade in the Seal and Darting Blow in the A, and she's good to go off of that. She can pick off some squishy targets like Ophelia Lilina. Being colorless and all doesn't mean that, it means she doesn't have that much bad kind of matchup spreads. And depending on your bonus unit, this could work even better, because you could have like Anna, for instance, and Anna could be running Infantry Pulse, so she'll charge Viloria up to a 2-charge special, and even Anna herself can jump in there with Noatin or Wings of Mercy, and they all work really well to basically sweep a whole team on a Gale Force strategy. It's good, but it's more of a wild card team, and I don't highly recommend jumping into this sort of strategy. But if you already have an invested Cherche, you have a Viloria sitting around, put together a wild card team like this, and it will likely deliver. Remember, use your errors as smites to create the initiation, go in there, blow stuff up, and feel good, because, you know, Gale Force strategies are a lot of fun. Okay, moving on. The defense variant of Cherche is something like this. Now, it's I feel like Cherche is really good on a flyer ball that incorporates air, especially 2 airs, because it provides the stat that's most needed for Cherche, which is the res stat. The res stat is the unfortunate lackluster thing that Cherche has going for her. So what do you do to kind of make that work? Well, you gotta res refine, you gotta run res bonds. If you had attack res bond 4 to spare from Brave Micaiah, this would be good. Because then she'll get that extra oomph there. Plus, if she's debuffed, well, attack res bond kind of negates that debuff, panics, or chill attacks. She doesn't care. So that's really good, and it does work out well for her, especially on a flyer ball. But she's still susceptible, because you're going to have Brave Bow units quadding her, likely, and it's going to hurt a lot when something like Luna hits her. And AoE specials are going to hurt because her visible res stat is terrible. So if someone does bring in an Ophelia with AoE, it's going to hurt, because 25 res just isn't going to do it. Even though she has the color advantage, with ward flyers and attack res bond and whatnot, she does reach about 50-40 res or so, and definitely in the 50 defense. But it's not going to be enough. So I'm not a huge fan of this, but the light variant of the flyer ball with Cherche on it is pretty good, because then she gets that visible res stat, which is very desirable. Okay, so moving on, Michalis. So this is kind of like the Shanna build that I may have shown in the Blue Lance Flyers for you guys that were paying attention. And they have the same weapon. It's pretty much your slaying noontime. However, Michalis is a Grail unit. You may have tons of copies of him. You may have invested into him a little bit. This is not a terrible way to use him. It's pretty good. I have used Mcallister in bonus season, and he does perform. However, his low res stat can be a detriment. And honestly, with Mcallister post buffs, he's going to do pretty well. You don't have to worry about him getting hit by chill res due to his lower res stat. And if you feel like he's getting kills anyways, you don't have to use a special refine. You can opt for the res refine, which puts him at a solid 40 res here. Don't use them in Astro Season, though. It's not going to work. 19 base res is something that's terrible, and it's not going to work out. But the dude does have a decent attack stat, has a great defense stat, and is kind of good for this whole tanking aspect if you choose to use them, if you didn't already invest in something like Shanna for your flyer tank. Okay. And last but not least, we got Beruka. So, due to Beruka's refine, she ends up being actually one of the best Fireball frontliners. In fact, I think she beats out Camilla, and that's because of her near immunity to Gale Force strategies, which are pretty effective against Fireball, because it's really difficult to create a like an enclosure of traps around your frontline Fireball. Like, you're gonna have an opening in one way or another, but with Beruka, she has guard built into her axe up to 50% HP, and that's really important, because you might think to run guard on like other frontline flyers, but it doesn't work out because people run bolt tower, and with bolt tower that guard is turned off and things kind of fail. You can also run stuff like Hack a Lantern, Camilla, I guess, but then you're just running a worse Beruka at that point, from what I see. So Beruka herself, guard axe, slaying weapon as well, super good for this. So Ignis ends up being like a 3 charge. If someone was to initiate on Beruka or even hit and run on Beruka, you're charging up her Ignis, which will definitely hurt a lot. The A skill here, like Speed Res Bond, you know, take it as a sample. It can run anything really. I feel like she can run attack, defense, attack, res. It doesn't really matter. Probably res in some aspects. So attack Res Bond, if you have it, would be pretty good. But Speed Res works out on the Dark Flyer variant, Dark Flyer Ball, because she's just getting so much speed anyways. This is like 41 res Beruka, sorry, 41 speed, 35, something up to 50 res or so, and some 60 defenses. It's really good. Now, what I really appreciate about this is that you run guard and that you run dual ranged in the B with the flyer formation seal. Means that stuff like Nino or any range units with buffs are not going to really hurt her very much. Also, as a good variant to this, I feel you can run Sudden Panic on Beruka in the B because she has a decent HP for that with defense mythic stacking or even air stacking if you run the flyer light ball variant. So yeah, Beruka pretty good. I highly recommend her if you haven't invested in a frontline flyer ball unit. So that pretty much sums up the whole video on Green Axe Fliers. That I'm not going to cover Har, I'm not going to cover Jerome, I'm not covering Narcian. However, I feel like if these units ever get their weapon refines, they may stand out in some way. Jerome and Har are pretty much just worse variants of Cherche due to Cherche having literally a better preference weapon, similar stat spread, and the choice of IVs. Narcian has an interesting stat spread due to his high HP, high res, defense, just middling stats. So a good weapon refine can make him work, and units like Navarre have got one before, completely new. So Narcian likely will be one of the first I expect to get a refine at some point, which may make him useful. But at that point, I'll cover it on Twitter, and it's kind of competitive here when it comes to flyers anyways, the Green Axe Flyer area. So with that being said, thank you for watching as always. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please let me know in the comments below who your favorite Green Axe Flyer is, and if any of these have interested you from watching. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.